It's times like these that give me hope for the future of R&B. And for all my real R&B guys and girls, April 25th, 2025 was a promising day as we were finally blessed with the highly anticipated debut album Why Not More by Coco Jones. As you guys may or may not know, Coco got her start in 2006 where she was a contestant on Radio Disney, and a few years later in 2011, she was a guest star on the show So Random and also competed in Radio Disney's Next Big Thing, where she was a runner-up during season 3. By 2012, Coco starred in the Disney Channel movie Let It Shine, where she became a fan favorite due to her powerhouse vocals and undeniable screen presence. After signing to Disney's Hollywood Records in 2012, she released one EP and later experienced a series of setbacks as Coco soon had her music shelved and was dropped from her label in 2014. After releasing two EPs independently in 2017 and 2019, and releasing a What Happened to Coco Jones expose video in 2020, Coco later signed to Def Jam Recordings in 2022 and released her major label EP, What I Didn't Tell You, in November of that year, which featured the 2023 Grammy Award-winning platinum song I See You. Fast forward to February 2025, Coco announced the release of her debut album, and finally, we have a full-length project from one of the most prominent R&B artists of the last couple of years. The opening track, Keep It Quiet, features the notable pulsating beat recognizably used by the production duo Stargate that unexpectedly introduces the album with a noticeably frustrated Coco. This is not the song I would have imagined would have been the intro, but it definitely highlights the confidence and maturation Coco has exemplified in recent years in regards to her personal life. Though it is well known Coco is in a relationship with a certain basketball players from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Coco acknowledges that if a guy decides to stray on her, embarrass her, or attempt to make her look crazy in these streets, she is begging them to at least respect her enough to keep it on the low. Even though this cycle could lead to constant emotional distress, her ego and pride is way too high to let the emotions get to the best of her, to the point where she is acting out of character. The second track, Taste, interpolates the legendary Britney Spears song Toxic, and at first this song and video felt like pure toxic to my eyes and ears because what actually is this? I was not a fan because even though I appreciate the bold and experimental evolution in Coco's sound and image, it did not resonate with me in the way that I had hoped. It is something about the vocal sample and the way it's sung that makes me super uncomfortable. Once again produced by Stargate, Jasper Harris and Aaron Shadrow, Coco spoke on the commentary of her consistent use of sampling in her discography by saying, I really wasn't planning to do that, but I'm never really planning to, and I tend to have a couple songs in my projects that are samples in a way like that. On my first EP, I had double back that sample SWV, and my recent single, I had Lenny Williams for Here You Go. You know what? It is really organic. I'm not like, let's go through the sample book and see what I could copy and paste. It's kind of like, dang, that is familiar and fire. Now let me flip it. I don't want to think of what anyone did. Now it's my turn to put my take on it. I do remember one of my producers, Jasper, playing the sample, and I told him to cut a little piece of it and copy and paste it, and then let me go in and do some stuff around it. And that is what really led to the song and the format of it. I didn't know about the whole thing, but I said, let me see what happens when you put one piece in it. And of course later, we ended up needing the song because it was the icing on the cake and the full payoff for the album. Coco went on to say that Taste is the scariest thing I've done in a while because I didn't know if people were going to like that for me. I thought they maybe had already decided that you're the girl who sings, you don't dance like this, you don't talk like this, you're not sexy like this, you do a little 1-2 and that's where you stay, and so I had to be willing to jump. I honestly think the song is really distracting when I heard it in the full context of the album, but I do appreciate Coco's risk-taking and gently stripping her earlier, more reserved image to embrace a mature and empowered identity. On Sight is simply incredible, and I'm utterly confused why this song was not chosen as the second or third single because, what? Produced by Rance and Swift D, this song exudes that 90s R&B realness with a dash of that modern contemporary elements that allows Coco to glide effortlessly on this track that immediately grabs your attention with Coco's assertive pleas for intimacy. AEOMG makes me chuckle for some reason. Maybe due to the repetitive Luther Vandross Never Too Much sample, or maybe just due to the robotic reverberated vocals in the chorus that hauntingly fades out. I do like the darker instrumentation on this track as it probably is the most raunchiest track on this album, but after a couple of listens, this song just sounds like a Kelly Rowland reject. It already has a dated sound to it that sounds to me that it won't age the best, but I like how playful Coco was with this song, as it is evident with her laugh towards the end of the song that she is really just having fun. Watch Out Trina, Thang For You is really on a mission to take the coveted spot in my heart as the supreme Thang For You song. I treasure and really enjoy lover girl songs such as this one because it shows the emotional depth and investment Coco is willing to explore when she is deep in the trenches of love and infatuation with her man. The desire and admiration radiates heavy on this track, and I see it becoming an immediate fan favorite because it's on the way to earn gold certification in my household already. Also, can we give Coco and her producers their 10s for the transition from AEOMG to Thang for You?
I wanna lay up with you, nothing on my mind. I'm terrified to give you my all, but I have to try.
The lead single, Here We Go, has proven over the last couple of months why it was so deserving of that Grammy nomination for Best R&B Performance. Sampling the 1975 Lenny Williams song, 'Cause I Love You, this classic soulful ballad continues the theme of the original song by expressing that raw and emotional ache one feels when they are falling into the same emotional loop with a person they know isn't good for them. It powerfully displays a cinematic performance in the bridge where Coco's heart and head are in full-on conflict. Coco and her collaborators did an incredible job of creating that sense of nostalgia while addressing the challenges of breaking free from toxic cycles. This is a classic R&B song for the ages and one I think is going to continue to age well over time.
Something that's bigger than us, something bigger than love, yeah, bigger than us, bigger than us.
The 7th track, Other Side of Love, is one of the older songs Coco initially previewed to her fans in 2022 when she was teasing a lead single for her EP. Eventually, Coco chose Caliber as the lead single and saved Other Side of Love for this album. I love how soulful and raw Coco sounds on productions like this one, but unfortunately, it still seems like she's holding back both lyrically and vocally. I would have loved an extra minute to really flesh out the complexities of the duality of love that Coco briefly vocalizes in this song. The title track, Why Not More, is simply incredible. I don't know if I'm a sucker for any R&B and reggae-infused instrumentation or just a fan of anything YG Marley is featured on, but Coco and YG have impeccable chemistry on this track. The island vibes and heartfelt pleas from Coco provide such a clean, soulful, and powerful track that allows me to feel literally every single word that Coco is saying. When she sings, I believe every word coming out of her mouth, and I want her to never stop singing. This song does not say a lot, but their flavorful delivery created a fresh-sounding record that expands the versatile sonic palette Coco is able to effortlessly glide on. The next track, Hit You Where It Hurts, begins with a gentle conversational acoustic build-up that swiftly upgrades to an urgent-sounding ambush that contrasts with its intense thematic sonic scheme, displaying Coco's ability to convey deep emotions and seek revenge upon someone that has wronged her. This track is essentially a sequel to the intro track, Keep It Quiet, in a sense where we find out what happens when her partner fails to hold up his end of the bargain, and Coco has no choice but to strip her good girl image to get her partner to understand and feel the level of pain that was inflicted onto her. I love this track a lot, and I could see it being used in movies. Now, I love the classic melodic R&B rap song collaborations, especially from Future, just as much as the next person, but I must admit that we did not need Most Beautiful Design as a single, nor did we need this song to exist in general. There is no reason on Beyonce's internet why Future needed to take up the majority of the song, to the point where Coco was relegated to the backseat on her debut project. I know the R&B girlies would like to uniquely recreate that iconic Rihanna, Future, love song, impactful sensuality, but he does not need to be featured on every single R&B girl's project. There's just no reason and no need and no purpose. Track 11, You, alongside Here We Go, is another strong single. This song is so beautifully written as it expresses a series of heartfelt images that show the beauty and deep admiration Coco sees and appreciates about her partner, which allows her to comfortably be vulnerable and introspective with herself and her fans. This track is so serene, calming, and deeply personal, and it is hard not to fall in love with it. The next track, Nobody Exists, written exclusively by Coco and produced by London on the track, introduces the themes of identity and self-perception, of being so immersed with a person where your surroundings become non-existent, where nothing else matters. The only thing that matters is Coco and that person. The authentic, vulnerable expression powered by the simple guitar riffs in the penultimate track, By Myself, sounds to me that it is one of the songs that defines Coco the most. She naturally displays an aura and strength about her that embodies a self-assured woman that can stand tall, literally and figuratively, in any space of her life without feeling the need to have someone to constantly rely on. Coco mentioned how this song was her favorite to work on because it was very specific to what she was going through at that time, as it was therapeutic and felt really healing to write. She went on to say that I would say By Myself was one of the most verbatim songs from my journal that I wrote for this album. At the time, I was literally feeling trapped by this person. They made me feel like you need me to be successful. I know everything. I have all the connections. I was like, I don't even feel comfortable without you. I hated that feeling. I couldn't live like that. It was too much pressure. That's when I wrote By Myself. The final track, Forever Don't Hit Like Before, is simply beautiful. The amalgamation of the production, emotional depth, and vocals, especially once we glide towards the end of the song, is impeccably sung as Coco takes us on a very brief 2.5-minute reflection journey of the realities of change and the process of accepting the conclusion and painful finality of a relationship that once felt like the only thing that mattered in the world no longer have any meaning or value. Well, except for the lessons learned from it. When explaining why she chose the title Why Not More for her debut, Coco said that's what Why Not More is. Whatever you feel like you have to do at this time, it'll get you to wherever you need to go. So why would you place a limit on yourself? Why not more whatever you feel you are right now, and then just see where you land? You don't need to know every answer, but you need to do what you feel inside. So do it. I think Why Not More is truly a fantastic debut album. Although all within the same vein, I appreciate the well-designed thematic approach to this debut. I respect how she did not feel the need to go the conventional route of creating a conceptual album of songs that flowed right into the next. It was an imperfect body of work that exemplifies the highs and lows of being in your 20s. As someone in the same age range as Coco, her themes of independence, emotional vulnerability, sensuality, self-reflection, and self-love corresponds to the everyday stories and experiences we see and hear in our everyday reality. Aside from that, Coco's vocal control and mastery is exquisite. I have to admit that I have not always been the biggest fan of Coco's vocal tone, but it is hard to deny that her maturation from her last EP to this album is breathtaking. Each ballad is a sweet, raspy, and soulful serenade that delivers otherworldly standout performances on nearly each track. All over this album, I can hear the influence and inspiration from artists such as Jasmine Sullivan, Kelly Rowland, Her, Brandy, and of course the obvious samples from Britney Spears and Luther Vandross. Far from an imitation, Coco carries her own and offers a unique perspective on her samples, and most importantly, embraces a versatile sonic palette on this album that further accentuates her vocals. I will add that I wish that some of the songs had an extra verse or were a tad bit longer, but in this day and age, there is no point to beat a dead horse because this generation is obsessed with their 2.5-minute songs, child. All in all, I will say my favorite songs so far would be On Sight, Thang for You, Here We Go, Why Not More, Hit You Where It Hurts, You, and By Myself. One of my hopeful music predictions for this year was for Coco to step into the R&B superstar diva she is meant to become, and with this album, I think she is in the right direction. Please let me know in the comments, what do you all think of Coco's debut album, Why Not More, and what are some of your favorite or least favorite songs? What do you think about the future of Coco's career, and where do you see her taking the genre of R&B? Does she bring anything new or fresh to the genre, or is it more or less the same? Do you prefer this album or her last project, What I Didn't Tell You? Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you next time.